This month of April, the energies of the eclipse, it is like a large rock has been dropped into the collective pool of humanity. The ripple effects that come from that, that's really what's incoming this month. The eclipse is turning the lights off. The parts of you that hide in shadow, you're able to see them, and it can feel very uncomfortable. This system was not created in a day. The earth herself, she was not created in a day. We are meant to go at the pace of the earth. We are meant to go at the speed of trust. I know that it hurts a lot to watch the extremes of where people have taken their own hatred, their own distortion, and the idea is that we are all in this together. At the end of the day, what I want to say to all beings is always, when you are ready to join us, you have a seat at our table. It's an eclipse, it's CERN, it's a toilet paper shortage, it's the end of the world as we know it. What is actually going on this month? There has been so much being talked about, and I feel like it's important to go on here and share some of my experiences, so that is what I'm going to do in this video. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Alunya. I'm an Akashic channeler and a psychospiritual healer. I offer different services and also channel publicly. You can find out more in my YouTube video or on my website if you would like to. In this video, I really want to talk about what I've been learning from this community as well as other communities online about what is happening in this month of April. So I had no idea that there was even an eclipse happening this month, actually, until I made the announcement about doing my live Q&A on Monday the 8th, on the day of the eclipse. Someone in the comments said, "Oh, you're doing it on the day of the eclipse." That's how I found out that there was a full solar eclipse happening the day of the second live Q&A. I would not have chosen that day normally, but that's how the guides work, so I leave it up to them. And then after I made the April energy update, there were so many comments about this month and also so many things that started coming up in my own feed about the month of April. There were different astrologers who've been talking about it. There are people on podcasts who have been talking specifically about this month in 2024 for a very long time. I was unaware of all of that until we actually got here. And actually it was when my energy update went out that I really became aware that this month has been being talked about for a long time. So I am here to share a bit about my own personal understanding from the update that I received, paired with my current understanding after feeling into the energy, and then also now having experienced it. It is only the 7th or the 6th right now, so it hasn't been that far into the month, but I've really been taking my time to feel into it and to just bring it into my own life and my own experience to try to understand. And it was made clear to me that I should share this. Because here's what I know. This month of April, the eclipse, all of the incoming energies that we have been learning about and that people have been talking about, for those of you who don't know, currently the eclipse, my understanding of it, and I am not an astrologer, so this is just my understanding from what other people have shared. It is a North Node eclipse. The North Node, the moon's North Node is what it is. It represents where someone's future is taking them, where they are headed. And so in your own chart, if you look for your North Node, it is indicative of the path that you are taking and what would basically be the highest good for you in this lifetime. Having a North Node and a full solar eclipse that is affecting the entire planet is looking at humanity's or the collective's North Node, so the future of where we are going as a whole collective. With a solar eclipse taking place in the North Node during the season of Aries, which is the charging ahead, it's considered the astrological new year. Didn't know that either until this month, but it's considered the astrological new year, so it's the beginning of something. The solar eclipse also is indicative of the beginning. And when we take that paired with it being in the North Node, paired with this time of all of the other astrological influences that are currently happening, it is showing that this has a lot of influence on humanity's collective experience, not only the day of, but many years into the future. The way that I am taking this is that this experience, it is like a large rock has been dropped into the collective pool of humanity, and we are going to experience possibly the dropping and the impact of that hitting the water, but the ripple effects that come from that many years, months down the road, that's really what's incoming this month. I do not have any feeling or indication in my own personal being, nor from my understanding and tapping in with my own guides, that there is a significant shift that is going to turn anything on its head, that is going to shift society in such a way that we are not going to recognize what is happening. I also want to say there are some people who I feel like might be wanting that. There is this desire to see things very rapidly turn and move us into a direction that looks completely different than where we are. I fully understand that desire. I actually used to hold that same perception, and I don't now. The reason why is because I have realized, just sitting more with the earth and with myself, we do not want a fast turning of heads to happen collectively. That is so disorienting, to say the very least. It would not be helpful. Yes, it would be ripping off the proverbial Band-Aid. Yes, it would mean a complete disruption and shutting down of society, the systems that we know. Yes, that is true. There is some benefit to that. I can understand, because it can feel really hard to keep living in the society and the system as it is and just watching it slowly kill people, if you will. I really understand how difficult and heartbreaking, to say the least, it can be to stay in this system. And I also want to say, this system was not created in a day. The earth herself, she was not created in a day. It has been millennia that she has been turning, that she has been creating and evolving herself to be this miraculous beauty that she is. We represent that beauty. This is not the time to throw everything aside and say, let's just burn it all and start over. My perspective, and this is what I really want to share, we are meant to go at the pace of the earth. We are meant to go at the speed of trust. That is a slow moving, conscientious, considerate way forward, where people don't get left behind and they're not pushed aside because they aren't able to keep up with us. I know that it hurts a lot, and maybe that's not even a strong enough word to say, but I know that it hurts to watch the judgment, to watch the extremes of where people have taken their own hatred, their own distortion. I recognize that. And the idea is that we are all in this together. That's why we're here. It's not to leave behind as many people as possible to go as far as we can. It's to bring as many people together as possible and go all together. It is an African proverb that says, you can go far alone, or you can go fast alone, or you can go far together. I personally, it's not important to me how fast we get somewhere. It's important to me how far and how many we get to take with us. So, this month, the energies of the eclipse, what is currently being brought up, my own personal experience, and again, just my very limited understanding from looking in astrology, this is bringing up our own personal, and of course it is reflected in the collective's shadow and like subconscious selves, aspects of our being that we have forgotten about, aspects that we either push aside or repress. Those are very much coming up to the surface, and we are being asked to face them in a way that is very raw and that you really can't hide from. So it is like The symbol of the eclipse, again, I am not an astrologer, so this is just my own perception. The eclipse is turning the lights off, but it's during a time when the rest of the earth is still lit up. So it's like the parts of you that hide in shadow, that are hidden or obscured in shadow, you're able to see them even though the lights are still on. Even though the sun is still shining, you can see them, and it can feel very uncomfortable. That's part of the reason why legends around the eclipse say not to look at the sun, not to embody, not to allow it to be around you. You kind of hide yourself from it. We are, I don't think, in a place to be doing that anymore. For those of us who are ready, who have done the work, who are ready to do more work, we are meant to face this. We are meant to open up even wider, to take in what is within us. My own personal experience, just to give you an example, because I realize that that can be very abstract, so I want to give a concrete example of something I experienced just today, actually. So I feel very privileged to live in a community in which a lot of the people around me, they are on this path. They are working toward their own understanding of themselves. They are not caught up necessarily in these very polarized dualities and ways of being. I feel very lucky to live here. And so what that means is it is not common for me to be around people who are not doing this work or who don't share similar ideas as to how the nature of reality works, or even how to cooperate in a way that we tend to find very natural, I would say, in this community. It feels very natural to be tolerant, to be accepting, to express love to someone who you may not even know their real name. That it's so beautiful to me what is present in this community, and it feels so natural to me. And many of you have expressed how natural and lovely it feels. So we are all so blessed that we get to interact like this. And we also all know, I'm sure, this is not the majority of the world right now. We are working to create that. And today I was reminded of that. I had this reflection in another person of essentially a lot of my past, which is quite traumatic. I will just leave it at that. And it brought up a lot in me. If someone had come to me and said, "Oh, are you triggered by fill in the blank?" I would have said, "No, definitely not. I've totally healed that. I feel great. Nothing about that has come up for me recently." That is the, I would say, the game and the dance of humans forgetting and remembering, right? That's what we all go through. Today, I was reminded that I have not fully healed that. There is still a part of me that gets activated when I am around this type of energy, the type of energy that is domineering, that is, I know better than you. It is truly a representation of a lot of what we are all trying to move away from. Because I have not faced that recently in my waking life, I wasn't expecting it, and it was very triggering. As soon as I became aware of, oh, okay, I'm feeling very activated right now, I took a moment to take a very forceful breath, just breathe out very forcefully. I have found that helps just release a lot of anger or rage or frustration that I'm feeling. So I did that, and I thought to myself, I have a choice here of either showing up with judgment or showing up with open arms. And the truth is, when I looked over at this person, I said, that's my family. That being right there, that's why I'm here. I'm not only here for this beautiful community that we have. It feeds my soul. Thank goodness that I get to be a part of this. But that person is why I'm here. And if anything is going to change, I have to love them as I love myself, as I love each of you. That's the only way forward. So I realized that this seemingly very mundane, truly, moment was an opportunity for me to come face to face with what is inside me, with these shadows that I thought were obscured. They came into the light, and I was able to go through this experience with this person and come to genuine gratitude and appreciation for them, not only for the way that they were affecting my own personal life, but also just for being alive, for choosing to come onto this planet and be a human, because as all of us are aware, it is a lot of work. This is a very dense place, and each being has their own internal battles. And who am I to judge this other person and make them an other, right? So when I left that experience, I was reflecting. I allowed the emotions to come up in me again because there was still this part of me that was feeling a bit of indignation and just frustration and activation, really, is what this part of me was feeling. I allowed it to come up. And as I began to express it, I could feel this part in me that just wasn't aligned with what I was saying. I realized that this part in me that wanted to express this frustration, it is an old part of me. It really does not function in my default programming anymore. It doesn't fit in. And I allowed it to speak. And then I thought, yeah, this is part of my shadow. This is the part of me that I'm ready to let go of, because at the end of the day, what I want to say to this person and to all beings is always, when you are ready to join us, you have a seat at our table. That's it. It's not, oh, you did that thing. Sorry, you can't come. It's not, oh, you didn't get here soon enough. Sorry, you're not welcome. When you are ready to join us, there is a seat at our table. That's where I want to operate from. And that's what I'm realizing this eclipse is about. Putting our energy into two extremes. This is really the final piece that I want to leave you with. These two extremes that we could be putting our energy into is also what I have witnessed. One side of people being extremely fearful as to what might happen, and one side looking at this as very exciting, which I'm glad that you are feeling joy around it. And for those who are feeling afraid, I'm sorry. I do not believe that there is anything to be afraid of at all. There is no part of me that feels that. And I don't want anyone to get sucked into those extremes. I don't think either are helpful. The deep fear means that the gifts that are available and the twinkling jewels that are in the darkness that you didn't realize were there, you're going to miss those twinkles when the time comes for them to emerge, because there is much to be found in the darkness. There are things that can only form in the darkness. The pearl, it only forms in dark agitation. Go figure, this beautiful gem that we hold dear. So there is that. Those who are in fear, I don't want you to only be consumed by that, but also those who are in joy. When I was contemplating this the other night, what came through is that this experience and the way that people are responding to it, it reminds me a lot of the 60s and 70s. No, I was certainly not alive during that time, but much of my family was. That is when they were alive. They were children, but also young adults at that time. And they talked about what that time meant to them. They have spoken of the hope that they were instilled with and the ideas that they felt like were going to come to fruition, and then they didn't. So many people, particularly here in California, had a lot of ideas about this movement is going to mean that the world will change. The movement of people, everyone dropping acid, is going to mean that everyone will awaken and see that we're all one. And that is not what happened. There were a lot of people who were let down. And in my family, which is very large, by the way, Catholic family, so very, very large, the people who are in it shared stories with how that is when they basically gave up. They let go. And they said, oh, well, okay, I put all of my hopes into what was going to happen here, and then nothing happened. Nothing changed. Vietnam War still went on. Thousands of young men still died. My friends still died, they thought to themselves. So clearly, everything that I thought was possible, all of this hope that I had, that was misplaced. I'm never going to do that again. I'm not going to get my hopes up and trust that there is some way for humanity to shift. And a lot of them have shut down, a lot of them. And thank goodness there are still some people who are from that time who do recognize that this is a cycle that humanity goes through, and it is a very long process. It is not a switch that you turn on. So I am grateful to those beings who have done so much work. Our elders are why we are able to walk this path. I can sit here and share this with you because of the shoulders of elders that I am sitting on. Whether or not I agree with them is beside the point. I am still here because of them, and I am forever grateful and full of honor that I do get to play this role while they have lived through much different times. I don't want any of you to lose your hope either. I don't want you to feel like, after this month, if nothing looks dramatically different, or maybe even during this month, maybe you don't experience any awakening symptoms. Are you going to be left saying, "What's wrong with me? Why didn't something happen for me?" Because I don't want that to happen. I don't want you to lose hope or to think that something didn't go right because there are all of these expectations around what this month is supposed to look like, or even what the rest of this year is supposed to look like based on what happens in this month. There are a lot of strong energies coming through. That much we know. That is very clear from all of the signs. There are a lot of strong energies coming through. My takeaway from all of this, and the message that I want to leave with you, please do not give your power away to the joy and hope or to the fear and despair. Neither end of the polarity. Come back right here to your heart. Return to this place, which will happily and joyfully guide you exactly where you're meant to be. It will unfurl exactly in the time that it is meant to, and it will offer to you the experiences that you are meant to have at this time, if you are open to receiving them with no expectation. If you are able to let go of the human egoic judgment that wants to arise, you will be able to see the beauty of the experiences before you. That is this month. That is it. So, thank you very much for listening to this. I really just wanted to come on here, and I felt like it was important to share this after I saw all of the messages and the questions and the fear from some people. I just feel like it was important to share this and for you to hear a little bit about my experience and the way that I'm orienting to this month. So, as always, I am sending you all my sincere love. On Monday, during the eclipse, or just before the eclipse, we are going to have our live Q&A. I have some special things in store because of the eclipse happening, so it would be wonderful to have you all there. The questions that have come in are absolutely beautiful. They feel appropriate. I'm really looking forward to seeing you. And until we meet again, may you remember your magic today.